Am I the a-hole stories? Am I the a-hole for telling my husband he is either married to me, or his coworker? My 37 female husband, 40 male, has been working at his company for 10 years as a maintenance supervisor. About a year ago, they hired Tabitha to work in their accounting department. Since the day she first started working there, she has had an infatuation with my husband that is now becoming unprofessional and inappropriate. This started when the heat went out in her office. My husband's job as supervisor is to assign tasks to his employees. However, she is never satisfied with the work they do, even though he says that they do great work, so she demands he work on her office. She constantly calls him on his work phone for mundane things. Carpet is loose in a corner, loose screw on her coat hook, and he goes and fixes them without issue. Last year when we went to the company Christmas party, pre-plague times, she was very flirty with him, constantly grabbed his hand. When he introduced us, she just grinned at me and said, "Look, there's Peter," and grabbed his hand and walked away. When we sat at the table, she damn near pushed me out of my seat to sit next to him, and my husband told her to get up that it was my seat. She walked off in a huff, and when she saw me in the restroom, she shoved past me. I told my husband what happened and he said it was fine, that she was harmless. I told him that she was not fine, and that she clearly had feelings for him and she was acting like a jealous girlfriend. The past few weeks this has ramped up to an astonishing level of inappropriate. She recently moved into a new house and my husband and some of the other guys from work helped her move and put things together. He gave her his personal cell phone number, and she has been calling and texting non-stop about things she needs help with. Multiple times a day, at all hours of the day and night, she will call and text him for help. Last night at 2 a.m., she called about her heat not working right. My husband said he would go over and look at it after work. I broke down. I told him he was not going, that she could call a technician like everyone else, and that he is not her personal maintenance man. I told him very clearly that she has feelings for him and he is so dense he can see it. I told him that while it is nice to help on occasion, she calls him all the time asking for help with things that she can do on her own, move boxes/furniture, or pay to have a repair person come and fix. I told him that once he gave out his personal phone number, that he crossed a line, and I am not comfortable with it. He said that this will most likely be an easy fix and it won't take long, so I cried and told him that he can either be married to me, or married to her, but I wasn't going to be the third wheel in my own marriage. He says he does not have feelings for her, and that I am overreacting to him just wanting to help a friend. I feel otherwise. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. He might be blind to the crush, but, doubtful, but you're telling him how aggressively she's treating you. And he doesn't seem to care. Trust your gut here, OP. I don't think you're on the wrong track with what you're suspecting. This. Let me translate your entire post. This woman's behavior and your husband's red flags. OP, you're not the a-hole and your husband is having an affair. Good luck. Came to say this. She is acting like a jealous girlfriend, because she is a jealous girlfriend. You are not the a-hole. Hobbs, on the other hand, is a grade A dyed-in-the-wool jackhole. Any man who invalidates his wife's concerns over behavior this blatant is either banging side chick, or is at bare minimum enjoying the attention, but doesn't want to admit he's enjoying it. Either way, you're in the right here, and if he doesn't willingly shove this woman off, you will have some decision making to do. Oh, he is 100% enjoying it. No doubt. No one can be that blind. OP is definitely not the a-hole. Not the a-hole, your husband is either incredibly dense or he's cheating on you and lying. I don't know. I haven't ruled out him being all three. Now for the last story. Updated, am I the a-hole for asking my ex-wife to transplant the tree she planted on our property? Original story. My soon-to-be ex-wife, 32 female, and I, 39 male, were married for 10 years before we got separated. We have two homes, a main home close to NYC and a lake house upstate. We agreed she would continue living in our main home, and I would move to the lake house. 7 years ago, my wife's grandmother passed. She planted a tree at our lake house in her honor. Since this was a vacation home that I'm now turning into a permanent residence, I'm going to be doing renovations, and there's no way around the tree needing to be moved. I am willing to pay for all expenses to transplant the tree, and the aftercare to ensure that the tree survives the process. I am willing to wait until the right time to do this. However, I heard late fall is the best time, so we do need to start planning it now. My ex-wife does not want to transplant the tree at all. She wants to be able to come over and keep visiting. It's a nice spot. There's a bench next to it and it's next to the lake, and she would spend a lot of time out there. My girlfriend does not feel comfortable with my ex-wife coming to my house whenever she wants. My ex-wife says everyone she talked to about transplanting the tree says there is a risk of the tree not surviving, and she's not willing to take that chance, even though I'm willing to do whatever is needed to make sure the risk is as small as possible. However, I really don't know much about transplanting trees. I've never had to do this before. Am I the a-hole for asking her to transplant the tree? Now for the comments before we read the update. Not the a-hole. Tell her straight up that the tree is in the way and will be getting moved regardless. Her only two choices are, 1, you have the tree professionally moved to a property she owns, or 2, they raise the tree when the renovations happen. Tell her she has until X date to tell you if she wants it moved. If she doesn't make arrangements to do so by that date, then the renovations will proceed however they need to. I came here to say this. Give an ultimatum. I'm getting rid of the tree. We can either move it to your garden or move it into a wood chipper. Your choice. Not the a-hole at all, but you need to put your foot down. See his comment that they aren't legally divorced. He shouldn't touch the tree now. Is a tree worth creating drama during their divorce proceedings? They aren't legally divorced and he has a serious girlfriend already? Sounds to be the wife might have other reasons to be upset than just the tree. We separated over a year ago and agreed to officially divorce last December. Info: will the tree need to be moved no matter what? It sounds like it's standing in the way of your renovations, is that right? If it has to be transplanted no matter what, it might as well go to her property, I assume. You're being plenty generous already. And I don't think it's unreasonable not to want your ex-wife visiting and hanging around your property anytime she wants. Yes, it will need to be moved. I have a large family and they stay at my house often, so I'm going to need to put an extension on the guest house. Just popping in, she can always take clippings and propagate them too, just in case the main tree dies. There will be other little ones from the same one. Beautiful cycle. This is a cool idea. I'll tell her about it. And now for the update. I spoke to my ex-wife again and told her that this time of year was the best time to move a tree and give it the highest chance of surviving, and that construction was going to start anyway, and even if we didn't move the tree until the last possible moment, there was still a good chance it could get damaged just from all of the work being done around it. She confessed to me that one of the reasons she did not want the tree to get moved was because she wasn't sure if she was going to keep the house or sell it because of the memories. She was unwilling to come up with another plan. So, I had the tree transplanted to her mother's house, which isn't far from hers. Her mother talked to a landscaper and I put a bench and some bushes around it. It's a nice spot. My ex-wife isn't happy, but the tree seems to be. Thank you to everyone for your advice. Now for the next story. Am I the a-hole for playing along when my sister-in-law joked about us running away together? I am going to change names to protect our identities. My wife will be Rebecca and my sister-in-law will be Samantha. I have been married to Rebecca for 6 years, but in total, we've been together for 10 years. Rebecca and I met while we were both attending school out of state, so for the first 6 years we rarely saw her family. Then we moved back to our home state, but to a part of it that's about 2.5 hours from where Rebecca's family live. After living there for 2 years, we moved closer to her family, and are now about 45 minutes away. As a result, I've spent a lot more time with her family, especially her immediate family, mom, dad, brother, and sister. I always gotten along with everyone, but being this close to them and spending this much time with them, has led all of us to realize how much Samantha and I have in common. Just being honest, it's a lot more than my wife and I have in common. This led to us becoming fast friends and developing a close relationship, but it is, and always has been, platonic and like brother-sister. Getting to the point of this post, at some point someone in Rebecca's family, I think it was her dad, joked that I had married the wrong sister, and Samantha seemed to find that hilarious and played along. From that point, it became a running joke that I had made a mistake, and when were Samantha and I going to run off together, since we were star-crossed lovers meant to be together. At first it made me uncomfortable and I felt like it was disrespectful to Rebecca, but over time I got used to it since Rebecca's family teases each other this way, and even Rebecca started joining in and saying that she was going to divorce me, because she didn't want to stand in the way of a historic love. I started to play along with the joke, but I tried to keep it to basic stuff like where we'd live or what color curtains we'd have, stuff I felt was harmless and not romantic. I did ask Rebecca many times to confirm she still was comfortable with it, and she always said it was fine because she never had any doubts about my love for her. What seems to have changed things was Rebecca's pregnancy. I didn't notice any difference, until Samantha made a joke about how the baby was an extra complication, and how I'd have to give it up but we could have our own someday. Rebecca didn't like this, and said that the whole joke was, and always had been, disrespectful, and we should all know better. In hindsight, I think it was in really poor taste and I would not have laughed and played along. But don't think it's fair to now say I'm the a-hole, after she encouraged me to play along and reassured me that it was fine, and the rest of her family agrees. It feels like she has suddenly changed the rules and expected me to guess, but how was I supposed to know? Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. I'm going to say no a-holes here, because the joke was fine with everyone for a long time, and your wife confirmed it was fine. However, things have changed now. For whatever reason, whether it's pregnancy hormones or whatever, you know that the joke is not okay anymore and it needs to stop. That means everyone involved. If you continue the joke knowing it is no longer okay, then you would be the a-hole. It won't be continued going forward. It's honestly a really fine line to walk. I was in a similar situation when I was a bit younger, and like the jokes were fine, but you need to be really careful about how much you play into it. One joke too far, and someone may start to think you're not joking. I was known as having a good sense of humor, so I could usually get away with it, but I'd never hang with the sister alone, or at least offering to hang with the girlfriend too. Everyone sucks here, except your wife. I think it's a weird joke, and honestly, how much is this being brought up and why is it being discussed so often? Don't you all have other things to talk about? I read this and feel like maybe you and your sil actually do have some romantic feelings between each other. Maybe she for you and you don't reciprocate, but it feels weird. I honestly thought this too. I've been in plenty of situations where people joked about who should be with who, because they had so much in common, etc. etc. In every case, in my own personal experience, be it myself or close friends, one or both parties had feelings already or caught feelings as the joke went on. Personally, if I were Rebecca and this joke had continued/escalated over an extended period, I probably would have started to have doubts about whether it was totally a joke. At the very least it must get old. Yeah, haha, you've got way more in common with her sister than her. Eventually that's going to sting. She might have joined in on the joke, because she felt she had to. Everyone was doing it. How much of a buzzkill would she have been had she kicked off, or gotten jealous before? Chances are, she's always been hurt by it, but the continuation coupled with the pregnancy, and then the get rid of the kid bit, just tipped her over the edge. Maybe she did change the rules, but how was she supposed to say this wasn't okay at this point? It's gone on so long. No a-holes here. Everyone sucks here. You and the sister-in-law shouldn't have made this a running joke. It is pretty disrespectful to your wife and it's beyond rude. If your wife had an issue with the joke, she should have shut it down before it got this far. My family jokes and teases each other a lot too, but we know what areas are off limits and we know that we never include our partners in the joke making. And that's it for this video, guys. If you have thoughts to share, leave a comment below. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you like this content. Turn the notification on to get updated on my latest posts. I'll catch you in the next one. Good day everyone.